Sa next video naman na to, pag-usapan naman natin yung sensitivity analysis ng CVP results. So, pag-usapan muna natin, ang una nating pag-uusapan is yung ating tinatawag na margin of safety. Ano po ba ang ibig sabihin natin ng margin of safety? So, it measures the potential effect of the risk that sales will fall short of planned levels. This is the excess of the actual or the budgeted sales over the break-even sales and indicates the amount by which sales could decrease before losses are incurred. So, ano po yung principle or ano po yung konsepto ng margin of safety? Siyempre, tayo bilang business owners or ang isang business, ang isa sa talagang iniiwasan niya ay mag-incur ng loss. Okay? Kaya, commonly, nagsiset tayo ng planned sales natin or yung ating budgeted sales. Ito yung parang pinaka-target natin na nabenta natin. Siyempre, in addition to that, napag-usapan naman natin in our previous videos, meron din tayong mga break-even points. Okay, at pinag-usapan natin na kapag break-even points nga yung pinag-uusapan natin, yung revenue, yung total ng revenue ay equal sa expenses. Combination of the variable at saka ng fixed expense. Now, if break-even point ay walang lugi at wala ring kita, syempre, yung ipa-budget natin na benta o yung ipaplano natin na mabibenta natin is more than the break-even point. So, for example, ang ating break-even point ay nasa 1,000 units. Of course, ang ating budgeted o yung ating magiging plan is definitely more than 1,000 units kung gusto nating kumita. No? So, ano ba yung tinatawag ngayon na margin of safety? Ang margin of safety ngayon na tinatawag is by formula, ito yung excess ng budgeted sales or planned sales over the break-even sales. Ito yung point kung saan pwede pa tayong magbaba or pwede pa nating hindi ma-hit or ma-meet yung ating budgeted sales na hindi pa tayo nag-i-incur ng loss. No, bakit? Kasi nga ito nga yung safety margin natin eh. Safe pa tayo, wala pa tayong loss dito. Okay? So let's try to understand it better when we apply it to a problem. Okay? Oh, by the way, aside from the margin of safety, meron din tayong margin of safety ratio. So, since ratio yan, percentage yung ating tinitingnan. So, ano po ang computation natin? So, yung na-compute natin or yung makukompute natin na margin of safety, i-divide lang natin siya sa planned or yung actual sales. Okay? So, that is our margin of safety ratio. Sige po. So, let's try to apply this in a problem. So, let us say, ang ating budgeted na income, syempre, may mga target tayong income eh. May mga gusto tayong makuhang income. So, for example, the budgeted net income natin for the year is 875,000. Okay? And we have the following available information. So, ano ba yung mga cost natin involved? Siyempre, meron kang manufacturing. Ito yung mga cost na nai-incur mo to produce the product. Meron ka ding selling. Basically, yung ginagamit or nai-incur mo kapag nagbebenta ka na mismo. And of course, yung ating general or yung ating mga administrative cost. Okay? And as I have mentioned before, ang ating mga cost, kinaklasify natin siya. Pwede po yung variable, pwede po yung fixed. So, let us say, ang ating variable manufacturing ay 14 pesos. Ang fixed natin, 12 pesos. Sa selling naman, let us say, 250 po ang variable and then 550 ang ating fixed. Sa general naman, let us say, 2.25 yung ating unit cost and then 7 pesos naman for our fixed cost. So, with that, yung total unit cost natin na variable, we have 16 pesos and 75 cents. For our fixed cost naman, we have 24.50. Okay? In addition to that, let us say na ang atin namang unit selling price ay, let us say, 50 pesos. Okay? So, ito yung mga available data natin. Of course, our budgeted net income of 875, our total, unit variable cost ay 16.75, and our fixed cost per unit is 24 pesos and 50 cents. Ang ating unit selling price ay 50 pesos. Ngayon, ano ba yung mga kailangan nating alamin? Siyempre, sabi natin kanina, ang margin of safety natin is budgeted sales tsaka break-even. Yung excess ng budgeted sa break-even. So, with this, let's try to identify muna or determine natin magkano ba yung budgeted sales natin. Okay? Ma'am, hindi po given yung ating budgeted sales. Yes, hindi po given siya. But since we have our budgeted net income, we can compute for our budgeted sales. No? Bakit? Syempre, kung ito yung in-expect natin na net income, ito yung, kumbaga, nasa dulong part, net income. So, akyat lang tayo. No? Pero, in order to get the budgeted sales volume, volume muna tayo. Ano pong ibig sabihin ng volume? Yung units po ito. Okay? Paano natin kukuhanin yun? So, simplihan lang natin. Tingnan natin, ano ba yung total budgeted income natin, budgeted net income. I-divide natin siya sa net income per unit. Ma'am, paano po natin makukuha yon or paano po natin malalaman yon? So, i-substitute na natin. Yung total budgeted net income natin, as given, it is 875,000. Ma'am, paano po yung net income per unit? Hindi po siya given. Yes, hindi po siya given, but it can be computed. Ang net income na tinatawag natin, yung ating selling price, bawas natin lahat ng cost. At alin ito? So, your selling price is 50 pesos, ibabawas daw natin lahat ng cost. Ma'am, alin pong cost ang ibabawas natin? Of course, meron kang 16.75 na variable cost at meron kang 24.50 na fixed cost. So, what will be the answer then? 50 minus 16.75 minus 24.5, a total of 8.75 yung iyong net income per unit. So, that would be 875,000 divided by 8.75. And that will give us an answer of 100,000 units. So, ibig pong sabihin, in order for us to meet the budgeted net income of 875,000, our planned or our budgeted sales volume is 100,000 units. Okay? Ma'am, ano po ba yung ating pinapakompute kanina? Ano po bang inaalam natin? So, we will now compute for the margin of safety. Ngayon, sa margin of safety, balikan lang natin ng konti. Ang margin of safety natin is the budgeted sales minus the break-even sales. Now, let's compute for the budgeted sales. Ma'am, okay na po yung budgeted sales natin. But have we compute na for the break-even sales? Hindi pa natin nako-compute ang break-even sales. Right? O hindi pa natin nalalaman yung break-even point. Okay? So, let's try to compute for the break-even sales. Okay, break-even point natin. So, paano po natin gagawin yon? Yung break-even natin, di ba meron tayong break-even point in terms of yung peso. Diretso na tayo dun sa peso. How is it computed? That is total fixed cost divided by the contribution margin ratio. Okay, ma'am, wala pong given. Hindi po given yung mga information na to. Yes, it is not given, but we can compute it based on our available information. So, can we identify now our total fixed cost? The only information that we have here is the 24.5 unit fixed cost, or fixed cost per unit. Okay? So, how can we compute for the total fixed cost? We can use our budgeted sales volume here. Okay? So, how much is our total fixed cost? It can be computed as this. Yung ating fixed cost per unit na 24.5, i-multiply natin sa 100,000 budgeted sales volume. I-divide natin siya sa contribution margin ratio. Ano ba yung contribution margin ratio natin? Paano ba natin makukompute yun? Contribution margin ratio. Sabi dun sa formula natin, contribution margin ratio is actually contribution margin divided by the selling price. Okay? How can we compute that? Yung ating selling price, 50, babawasan natin ng ating variable cost. Magkano ang variable cost natin? 16.75. So, 16.75, ito ngayon yung ating contribution margin. I-divide natin yan sa selling price. Okay? So, with that, ano yung kakalabasan yan? 24.5 times 100,000, it will give us how much? That's correct. That's 2,450,000. Yung contribution margin natin or contribution margin ratio natin, that's 50 minus 16.75, 33.25 yung ating contribution margin. So, lagyan lang natin dito. Singitan lang natin dito. So, it will be 33.25. Okay? So, 33.25 divided by 50. So, our contribution margin ratio is actually 66.5%. So, that's 2,450,000 divided by 66.5%. our break-even point in terms of sales is actually 3,684,211. That's rounded off to the nearest peso. Okay, so this is the break-even point. So, we identified already our budgeted sales volume. We identified already our break-even point in terms of peso. Now, let's compute now for the margin of safety. Ang margin of safety natin is budgeted sales minus break-even sales. Magkano po yung budgeted sales natin? That is 100,000 budgeted volume sales multiplied by the 50 pesos sales price per unit, which give us, magkano ito? 5 million. So, you have 5 million here minus 3,684,211 break-even point in terms of sales, which will give us the margin of safety of 1,315,789. Okay, so that's the margin of safety. Kapag kaya naman na kinuha natin is yung margin of safety ratio, the formula in getting that is margin of safety divided by your budgeted sales, which is 1,315,789 divided by 5 million, which will give us answer of 26%. So, ibig sabihin, your sales can decrease up to 26% of your budgeted or of your planned sales na hindi ka pa mag-i-incur ng loss. Okay? Pero kapag mas sumobra na or mas mataas na sa 26% yung ibinaba ng iyong sales in relation to your budgeted sales, then chances are you will be operating at a loss.